consumer software businesses, consumer AI businesses, healthcare companies, home services, they have this thing that a website basically generates leads or signups or trials for them, and actual conversions happen somewhere else in a payment system, in a backend platform. It's delayed in time. So most of the existing tools, they don't work with that correctly. And this is what we're solving. So we're answering the question of what's actually working and what's not through raw revenue and ROAS from each channel, campaign, and creative. And we're building AI agents that can help you analyze all of your marketing channels and campaigns and creatives and stuff, and over time improve them just by talking to the system and creating rules and doing analysis.
Hi, my name is Dimitri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Ida Tank. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. In this episode, we have Seva Ustinov, the founder of Elly Analytics. How you doing, Seva?
Doing great. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's really nice to finally get down to chat about all things AI and what you're doing. But, so everyone can get a little bit of insight into you, please tell everyone, how you got your start, where you've come from kind of to get to this point with being the founder of Elly Analytics.
Sure. So originally I've launched my own digital marketing agency that was like 15, 20 years ago, something like that. And that was a pretty successful company with scale to an 8-figure business with 100 plus employees. We're like building digital sales for our customers at a large scale. And after that, I realized I wanted to build a product in the same space. I chose it carefully. So this is how we launched Elly. I moved to San Francisco, raised some venture capital, and so we've been building marketing data platform for performance marketing for software companies and services. And now we're building AI super agent for performance marketing for consumer software and services. Let me unpack this for you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So imagine someone spending like $50K per month on digital ads, like Google ads, Meta ads, TikTok, influencers, affiliates, all those performance channels. And most of the tools today, like Google Analytics or even AI tools, they can help you understand what's working and what's not and improve efficiency. If you're an e-commerce business, if you can capture conversions on your website with the pixel, and that's it. But consumer software businesses, consumer AI businesses, healthcare companies, home services, they have this thing that website basically generates leads or signups or trials for them, and actual conversions happen somewhere else in a payment system, in a backend platform. It's delayed in time. So most of the existing tools, they don't work with that correctly. And this is what we're solving. So we're answering the question of what's actually working and what's not through raw revenue and ROAS from each channel, campaign, and creative. And we're building AI agents that can help you analyze all of your marketing channels and campaigns and creatives and stuff, and over time improve them just by talking to the system and creating rules and doing analysis. And I'll show that later, but this is where we are right now. We have like dozens, maybe hundreds clients. We're growing fast. We're transitioning the whole company to Cursor to become an AI-first company, not just AI-first product. And there's so much exciting stuff going on right now. So I'm happy to share that.
Absolutely, no, and I'm excited to hear more about some of the cool use cases you've been working on. Getting your company to be an AI-first company. I guess just another question about yourself and Elly Analytics. you're moving from being originally what your experience was like a services company to like a AI company. What's that kind of been like for yourself?
Well, for me, I was feeling it like a completely new life challenge. So like I've built a large scale agency dividend business. And now I want to build product AI venture backed business in San Francisco. So like it's a completely new chapter where I can apply everything I learned from my services business to my own product. Um, and like that's very exciting and inspiring. And I feel like it's fun, it's challenging, and it's rewarding. On the inside, uh, I felt like it's much harder to start because you have to do so much work upfront and you cannot like adjust on the fly. Like with services businesses, like different clients, they have slightly different requests and you just like adjust on the fly. With product business, like whatever you build, it's there. It's like really you have to plan long term. You have to find like a very small audience because you cannot like solve everything for everyone. Uh, Everything that takes time to build. But on the bright side, everything is compounding. So you have one client, and 4 clients, then 10 clients, like close to 100% retention rate. So it's like growing over time. You have more resources, you have more systems in place, connectors, attribution modules, new reports, like applying to our own product. And at some point, I started feeling that like we've built something really meaningful. There's still no default option in our space to solve like reporting and attribution and automation. And we have a strong chance to become one.
And would you say that, and the reason I asked that, and great response there, very, very cool stuff. Would you say that your services business really led you to having this idea, right? Because it does seem to be in, kind of the same.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, like, first of all, like there are two sides of that. First of all, I've been managing digital ads at a large different scales and levels for like basically my whole life. So I know what's there, what's missing, what's relevant, what's important. And the second thing is like our services businesses was closer to a consulting side than to just a conveyor belt. So we've done a really deep dive into each business, and like that basically like living through 100 lives with different businesses inside. So now with all of that experience and knowledge, and I can apply that to my own product business.
Yeah, I think that's really it's kind of key here, right? Like a lot of people, start these AI businesses for different reasons, but you've experienced what exists in digital ads, right? There's Looker Studio, there's the built-in ads platforms, analytics, and none of them are really. I think most of them leave something to be desired, for insights, right? You have to find the insights from the dashboard in front of you, where and that kind of puts you in a very non-time advantageous spot as a digital marketer.
Yeah, especially like think about software businesses. You have this cost per trial from Facebook, from Google, from TikTok, from influencers, but you don't really know true customer acquisition cost for each channel, or like the influence of different channels to the mix, or like what's bringing the highest LTV customers, the best customers. And like oftentimes the cheapest channels actually bring the worst clients, but if you don't have the data, like you cannot actually adjust to that.
Yeah, the answers to the questions of, like you said, like what is the real LTV I'm getting is very difficult. I've attempted to set up these types of setups in Google Ads, and it's kind of complicated to get. You have to have like multiple tools working together in order for you to get even a reasonable answer to the LTV question. And a lot of times I don't even feel like it's very accurate. You'll have to be like I remember I used mixed panel before, and have you heard of that?
Of course.
Yeah, we use, you have to use mixed panels and GA4 and then pipe that into Google Ads again. And it just doesn't feel like a very good system. And I think that's, most people find solutions through their struggles. And it seems like you yourself have done that here, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that insight. And what I'd love to see a little bit more is you mentioned, bringing your company to be more of an AI first company itself. And we talked about it a little bit before the call, and I think it'd be really cool. We don't do this as often on the show, but for those listening on audio, feel free to head over to the video portion, because I'd love to kind of see some of those specific use cases of inside of Cursor, because Cursor, Claude Code, all these are considered coding tools right now, but they're really more than that. They're really definitely, they're more than that. And you showed some cool examples. So feel free to share your screen and we'll jump right into it.
So let me start with the basic idea first, and then we'll build up more sophisticated cases from there. Let's say, hey, Cursor, can you analyze a new competitor called Split Metrics and add it to my competitor analysis folder using our
Sure.
workflow? Yep. So the idea is that with ChatGPT, I can ask questions. I can ask it to Google something. I can copy some overview and descriptions of what I'm working on, and that's it. Then ChatGPT produces the answer. I can copy things back, but it's always this back and forth. And this is not what AI really promised us. AI promised us that it can do all the work, that you don't have to do anything you don't like. You just ask things and they happen, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And most people think that it might happen long time in the future. But in reality, we're really close to that vision already. It's just for some reason, all the systems, they are branded as a developer tools, but in reality, we can use them for everything, for text, for slides, for documents, for presentations, for prototypes, posts, scenarios, anything. And this is an example here. So I asked Cursor to do competitor analysis, and it started Googling features, pricing pages, founders, their background, user feedback, G2 and Comtero reviews, their own competitor comparisons, and some more extra researches. And in the end, it created a file. Where is it? It's not here. Hey, Cursor, where is the file? Oh, okay, I see. Not split matrix, split metrics. Okay, there are some issues.
It's hard for me to even understand that sometimes. The audio syntax is never going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the idea is that on the left we have all these files. In this case, it's my personal finance, it's my healthcare information, some home projects, learning projects here, and most importantly, my company files, company info, company story, business model, this competitors folder, financials, investor updates, product vision, current product overview, and so on. So basically, I moved my Notion to files here, and now once I move them here, I can work with them. I can create new files. I can ask it to read other files. Yeah, it's actually found the right company and now creating this file for us. And there are so many use cases I want to show you. This one, like, it will take a little bit of time to finish. The nice thing that happens here is that I have rules how I want my competitors to be analyzed. Yeah, basically, like the first time it did it in the wrong way, and I had okay, like do real user reviews, check all these review platforms, check Reddit, check Glassdoor, check user sentiment, check funding rounds, announcements, press releases, and everything. So next time I ask it to do this task, it will follow these rules. And if I don't like something, I can just ask it to update these rules. And this is how this experience becomes truly personal. So over time, my cursor understands me better and better. And when I ask something, it does exactly what it wants, what I want. So it's like, it's similar to having like a personal assistant that truly learns over time what I'm expecting from them. Competitor landscape overview updated as well. And these are all the files, all the info. I'll take a closer look later, but basically I do this every time I find a new interesting company in our space. And it took like you saw it, it's just one prompt, one correction, a few minutes of work, and it's done. Imagine.
Yeah, it's not much work at all.
Yeah. And imagine like with ChatGPT, I would have to write like this whole long prompt, maybe store it somewhere so it knows what I'm actually looking for. So this is a case number one. Let's just stay here for a minute if you want to like discuss it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the type of stuff that I find interesting about this workflow first and foremost. Like when you're working in this and you have all these different these markdown files, right? What I find intriguing about this, rather than working in a LLM itself, is that this is like a bunch of files you can reference for later and then go back and edit them much better. Is this one of the reasons you feel like using this is a little bit more effective workflow wise, or?
Yes, this is the most important one because it works with all my files. I don't have to copy anything back and forth. It can search my files. Well, like at some point you'll have more and more of them. Like there could be prompts like this. Like go find a company story and product overview and vision files somewhere in that company folder, and come up with 3 ideas how to get a good PR about what we're building.
Sure.
So like I don't have to, I know it's somewhere in my files. There are these company story files and product overview and so on. I don't have to even think about them like explicitly. I don't have to copy files. No, I can drag files one by one here so it gets the right, but if your real assistant in real life can find relevant files, then the agent can find relevant files. So it read all of those. It also found an executive summary file. And now, based on all of that information, it came up with some different story angles and storylines. How I can get a good PR for my business? So with ChatGPT, that would require to give it explicit context about everything I want to ask. And here I just talk to it and it has all the context it needs.
Nice. Now, I'm reading sorry. Interesting. So how much time a day do you feel like you're spending in this?
Probably on average between 1 and 3 hours per day. So as a founder, I have like a ton of calls with my team, with clients, with partners, with investors. But like 99% of my like work on my personal tasks nowadays happen in Cursor. I hire people and the flow of hiring people using Cursor. I work with on presentations and docs and vision and strategy using Cursor. It's I don't even know how to describe it. I can show you like more examples of how that works in real life, but uh, over the last 3 to 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
99% of my personal use cases switched to Cursor. The only thing
And
that left
what was the
outside.
like catalyst that made you realize this was even a thing for this like type of work, right? Because like I said earlier, most people look at this and they think it's for coding, you know?
Um, like I noticed that every single person have its own use case that like triggers something inside them, and they like get it and switch to Cursor or Cloud Code or like similar tools. For me personally, that was uh, when I wanted to create a coherent vision of the future of the company. So we have this data platform as a foundation. We have these AI agents as a vision for the future, and we're launching them right now. And um, I needed to describe to create like a coherent story around that, and I could do that using a whiteboard or Miro boards. I use them. That's actually like the only tool outside of Coursera I use daily. But that would take a lot of time, and I cannot work with that as fluently as with AI tools. I tried to do that with ChatGPT, but I figured out that I have to retell again and again uh, the necessary context, and it always forgets it. And then I have to create a new chat, and I cannot control it in the right way. So like I decided, okay, I spent a few evenings just to collect all that context, like company info, company story, um, so that I don't have to retell it every time I want to ask a new question.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
once I had that here in files, it just became like so obvious and so easy, and I cannot even imagine like how would I do it differently. Why would I talk to AI that doesn't have all of this information? Why would I do it manually when I can like brainstorm on the fly and restructure things just by talking to a cursor?
Yeah, and you know, I think that leads to another question. Obviously, I'd like to see another use case after this question, but
Mhm.
how much time? Well, it's a two-parter. Sorry, you said that you're bringing people on that you want to like do this and this to be like how they're operating and work. What percentage of work? Because you said 99%. That's kind of why I first asked that question, right? For you, you're like spending all your time. What percentage of work do
Mhm.
you feel like people are in your company doing this type of workflow now? What percentage? And
Wish I
then
have a
where do you want
statistics
it
for
to?
that.
And how are you getting?
Uh,
I'm guessing you have a goal. No, like so. I'm trying to gauge adoption. You don't have to have like a hard stat, but like where are you kind of at in the process of getting it to be the case, and what is your ideal goal for like your workforce to be doing this like all the time, or like that's what I'm getting at, I guess.
um, so different roles have like different
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
preferences. No, second. I'll better stick to this folder, personal
Mm-hmm.
super agent. Um, so, for example, it was relatively easy to sell this idea to developers uh, once they figure out their own use cases. So for them, that was like writing an like auto tests, like quality assurance, and
Sure.
updating documentation. Because previously that was a very tedious and boring tasks that nobody wanted to do, and now they could do it with just like one prompt. And like they found that that use case, they loved it, and like they started experimenting with others. Now I think our best developer writes pretty much all the code with AI, with multiple windows using Cursor and Cloud Code, and spends something like $1,000 per month on tokens, but the productivity is extremely high. Others, they could use it here and there, so it's like a gradual transition, and that's fine. Like the hard part is to find your first use case. For project managers, because like the data platform, we have integration for each client connecting to all the data sources. It takes some time, so we have these small integration projects for each client, and we have analysts and project managers who do that. For them, the tipping point was when they realized that they don't need to spend an hour per day updating the product docs and follow-up emails. Let me show you an example. So go check the latest meeting transcript in the transcripts folder, in the projects folder, and update client beauty one status card. So in this case, the transcript is already downloaded. In reality, it would connect to Fireflies, get the latest transcript, and update everything on its own. So it read this transcript here, and now it will update this card. So imagine you're a project manager, and the only thing you need to update your like project status file is to ask your cursor to read the latest transcript and do this work for you. Yeah, based on the whole transcript, this thing like wrote the updates, like the attribution, promo code issue fixed, something else happened, technical readiness, everything is in green, and so on. So like project managers can have their own rules here, I believe. Yeah. What they want, what's the format, what's the structure, what they want it to follow, to analyze, to highlight, and so on. And all these updates happens basically on their own. Like this is what both quote unquote the both in the project managers. Our operations team, like we do a lot of hiring nowadays, so there is a lot of recruiting to have it here. Yeah, so basically like those people, they never ever saw code or programmed anything on their own, but it took
Yeah.
like an evening or two to connect to our ATS, application tracking system, to get all the updates and information about candidates into files here in Cursor, and to set up workflows that gives like a second opinion and recommendations about each candidate, looking for gaps in their CV and interview and our requirements. So like we're not delegating decisions to AI yet,
Yeah,
but we're
sure.
using it as a second opinion. And like once you do that for the first time, you can never go back. And also that expands capabilities. So for example, our project management team leads, previously they had to go through each meeting on their own. Now they can just
Yeah,
analyze transcripts. Yeah. So you asked like how much people on the team actually use it.
correct.
Uh, so I think like some people use it just maybe once or twice a day, just to like as a substitution for ChatGPT. But all the managers and leads, like team leads, and senior staff, basically, the more responsibility and tasks you have, the more you use Cursor, because it becomes like a huge leverage for any kind of repetitive tasks, even intellectual, even uh, like managing like 30 integration projects at the same time with dedicated project managers. It still requires like so much effort and attention, but AI can help with that a lot, and especially AI in Cursor or Cloud Code, because they can follow your own workflows and you can guide them and you can automate lots of repetitive things.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of works across departments too, which I think is really curious, or not curious, sorry, really exciting. You know, like whether you're in marketing and sales and engineering, we were just talking about it beforehand. There's so many different areas that you can really enhance your day-to-day productivity with this.
Absolutely, yes. I forgot to mention sales and marketing, but those guys use it. They were the first to try it out and to adapt, actually.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a common thing in businesses in general. It's like sales and marketing usually is just trying to like see how they can do more, right? Because like sometimes with marketing, it's just like doing more marketing, doing more sales, right? And will give you results. Whereas like the quality of things in some other aspects of the business, like code and whatnot, obviously this is very beneficial for it, right? But the quality of the code still needs to be there and whatnot. So,
Let me show you a few tips that might be
sure, yeah, let's
useful
do it.
to use things like that. So first of all, I always create these cursor rule files, cursor rules, and I describe everything I would want my assistant to know. The structure of my files and what lives where. That's number one. Sometimes I just add like a brief description of everything so it knows what I'm talking about. Then, very important part is like anti-hallucination rules. Because when you work with Claude Sonnet, especially with Claude Sonnet, it tends to like write things that are not based in the ground truth, because it's very proactive and it starts creating files, and you just you ask it for one thing and it creates 10 more things. So I have special rules to
Yeah.
basically treat everything we write here together as a specs for the creation of the company. So like the code is
Yeah.
a source of truth for developers, and all these documents like strategy and vision and everything, they should be treated not just as text but as a building blocks for the company. And every statement could be tracked to its sources, marked as canonical if it's like a source of truth here, or a reference like where did we get this, or for example this file with company competitor research is referenced from the file with competitors overview that is referenced from executive summary file. And all of those references, they have this mark. So next time AI wants to change something, it can find all the places that are like dependent on this. I ask it to reuse all the phrasings exactly, because it tends to like change words slightly, it changes the meaning slightly. But when we're talking about like, for example, ideal customer profile definition, we want it to be exactly accurate, not almost accurate.
Yeah.
And if it needs adaptation, I asked it to mark different statements as adapted based on the original source from like a referenced file. So like this 10 lines, they change the performance of the agent completely. It stops doing things on its own that only like that you don't want to, and starts doing exactly what you asked it to do. another block like anti-hallucination rule. It's basically the same. And just repeat it in different words to make it more clear what I wanted to do.
Very smart.
And there are more things here, and I share it as an example, so people don't have to start from scratch. We won't go through all of them this time, but anybody can read them, can adapt them. And the basic workflow here is that I just work with cursor on my daily tasks, and when I see that it deviates from the expected road, I ask it here, like I ask it here to just update these rules. So it's not like some kind of a special process to set up your rules that takes a week and it doesn't work. No, I just work with it and gradually improve rules just by asking it to follow specific workflow next time, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's, guide rails are really important with AI. Without them, they can kind of go off the rails, for lack of a better phrase, and kind of go and do a lot of work, but maybe necessarily might not be the type of work you want, then actually cause more confusion later. So those are really important.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let me show you how to start with this whole workflow, because it might seem like it's a developer tool. You'll
Yeah,
have
right.
to
Yeah.
have someone to install it for you. But in reality, it's extremely easy. So step one, we go to cursor.com, we download the cursor, we click next, and it's done. Then we go to Whisperflow, we download it, we go through next, bind the key. I prefer like a function key. So now anywhere on my computer, I can give me alternatives to Whisperflow. Just using this as an example, that anywhere on my computer I can press a button function, talk to it, and it will.
I've seen you've even made your wait, did you make your search bar Perplexity?
Yes, and actually, like my main browser is Comet, but there are not that many use cases yet.
Yeah, that's cool though. I didn't know about that. That's a really, I mean, honestly, that's what a lot of people would prefer, anyways. Because Google, I think, is
like pretty good. Yes.
Yeah, I think Google's great, obviously. But this, I know a lot of people love Perplexity for obvious reasons. So this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
So I personally use Mock Whisper because it converts speech to text locally without sending it to servers. But Whisperflow is the best default option. It works for Mac, it works for Windows, it works great, and it's pretty secure. My personal preference is to do it locally.
Nice. That's really cool.
And then, so I've created this repository, basically a collection of files for people, so people could start not from scratch, but like from some template. So when you open the cursor for the first time, you see a window like this: open project, clone repo, connect something. You don't need to know anything. You just press open project, create a new folder, test folder 3, 4, and open. And here's your cursor. Zero files open. Just and I say, hey, download this locally to my folder, and don't do it as a subfolder. Like, place it right here, and guide me through next steps. And I give it a link to this template. You see, I noticed that even the word like GitHub or repository scares people a little bit. So like the nice thing about AI agents and Cursor, that you don't have to know how that works. You know that, like, okay, that's a template. It could be downloaded. I just ask Cursor agent to do that for me. It does its magic, like downloading files, doing something here. I
Yeah, it does
don't
it
need.
without you needing to know how to do
Yeah,
it, right? You just
exactly.
say do it, and then it does it. Yeah.
You still like need to know what you want to achieve. Like, I want this template on my computer, but everything else could be done like without technical details.
Hmm.
Yeah, so here are docs, all things I showed you, some basic scripts, README files, cursor rules. So like everything I showed you today, you could explore it on your own. You could ask Cursor to explain what's going on here and how to use these examples. Yeah. Oh. One more extremely important thing. At some point, you'll probably want to wipe code something,
Yeah, for sure.
like a connection to Gmail or to Calendar or to Notion or to Firefly's
Yeah,
transcripts.
whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me show you like one life hack how to do that. Uh, I'll start a new chat and say, I want to connect to Firefly's API and get latest transcript, and I want to do it repeatedly. Like, do a research on how to do that based on the like specs or best practices or something. But most importantly, um, look for real user reviews and
Yep.
testimonials and suggest a way that actually works for people. And like, that's a prompt that gives you a 99% working solution. Like, it's not just something that could work. It's not just something Googled from the internet. It's actual solutions that work for real users. And this way, you don't have to spend like hours or evenings figuring out like different roads. You can just choose the right road from the start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It works with ChatGPT and everything as well, but when you want to create a new connection or some code or something, or open source project, download it.
Yeah.
You want, yeah.
Want it here.
hmm Um, what do you think about this whole idea of transitioning from ChatGPT
Well,
to
I think it's a
Cursor?
lot better for a couple of different reasons. Like we mentioned at the beginning, there's the documentation and all in there, whether it be the cursor rules and guide rails, and you're also able to like organize everything in there a lot better. ChatGPT, for all intents and purposes, has like those different, GPTs you can add in there, and it has some reference knowledge you can keep in there, but it doesn't quite have this level of memory. Working memory is kind of what's really key here, and that brings me to kind of where I'd say my last question would be for you, as we are hitting the top of the hour here. So I'll just ask, where do you feel like this is going to impact workplace productivity on the masses, right? Like, this is something you're doing that I think is really advanced, is really cool for your own company as well. When do you think this is going to hit most people, that they should start working like this? Or will it ever happen? Or is the market just long on this?
I believe it's already happening. When you think about like Y Combinator companies, I think 90% of them use workflows like this for everything. Companies I know, like maybe a few percent of them actually know this and start adopting it. They hire like this time they hire like real AI officers that help them drive transition and implement more of AI workflows into their companies. But what's already happening is that companies are some of them already stopped hiring non-AI native employees. Junior, middle, senior, team leads, managers. Uh, it's like if you have 3 candidates and one of them already experienced this kind of workflows and knows how it works and passed the learning curve and can bring their own use cases to the company, will definitely have a much higher priority over those with like relevant experience, but who still stuck in the ChatGPT era.
Absolutely. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. So with that being said, as we wind things down, what would be the one thing you'd like to shout out? Obviously for people to go and check Elly Analytics out is what I would recommend. But is there any final thoughts or shout outs you'd want to give to close the episode out?
Let me show you like a glimpse of the future where things with AI are going and what we're building here. So basically, imagine the way you work with files and docs and everything here in Cursor. You can work with your own ads and analytics. So we're basically building a Cursor for performance marketers from consumer software and services companies.
Mm-hmm.
And you can talk to it in a way like, hey, can you show me the metrics you have access to, and build a simple report with 7 key metrics for the last 7 days. It's in alpha version. It's so like the same way it works in Cursor with simple files and scripts. In a similar way, it works here with the whole data warehouse and data
Nice.
platform.
Yeah, it's doing an SQL query.
Yeah, it's doing SQL queries. It can have access to all the tables and connections and descriptions. You can have like 6 sequential queries and everything. It will just build this report we want in a minute. And this is like layer 1. Layer 2 is when we ask it to create rules that will, for example, stop burnout creatives the moment it shows the signs of burnout. So we don't have to spend extra money on non-effective ads or scale top-performing ads. And that's
Nice.
what we're launching today. And the next step that will be built like in the next couple of months, I believe, is like actual iterations and changes on the ads itself, and keywords and creatives and ad assets and everything. So you can send a prompt like, hey, analyze everything we've done so far with our ads, analyze changes from last week, analyze trends from Google Ads and TikTok ads from their libraries of our competitors, and suggest changes for the next iterations of tests. And all of that could be done automatically, okay, with oversight of performance marketers. It's always there. They're in the driving seat. But it basically 10x's the powers of marketers, so they can launch, instead of launching like 20 tests per week, they can launch 100 or 200 and find what's really working and scale it and do it efficiently. And
Very cool.
This is where things are going.
Well, that's amazing. I think that's going to be awesome for everyone to check out. So everyone, make sure to go to ellyanalytics.com, check out everything they're doing there. We really appreciate having you on the show, Seva.
Thanks for having me. Happy to share all this knowledge and use cases. I'm so excited about the AI and where it's going.
Thank you so much. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day. And to everyone listening, please leave us a like, comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.